What's going on? I don't know if you guys can hear, but I got the Yankee game in the background. I hope you don't hear that. Let's go Yankees. Anyway, they kill me, but we won't even get into that. A lot of you guys are anti-New York, anti-Yankee, so fuck you. Alright, anyway, I don't like to talk about other people's shit, but I get a few guys that are asking me, and a few emails, and a few messages that have asked me right here on YouTube, on MSM and Joe Muscle Sport Mag show and everything, and they're saying, Greg, you should stick your 2 cents in, because we want to hear what you have to say about the Arnold talking about the steroid thing, okay? So I'm going to talk about that, and also want to explain something to you. You guys clear up a little bit of something on the After Hour show that we talk about that Dave is wrong with, and he keeps saying the same thing, and I keep rebutting him, and he keeps saying the same thing, and I keep rebutting him, you know. And then I'm going to talk about, I guess, I don't know if I'll talk about this, but anyway, let me get to the Arnold thing really fast. I'm not going to make this a long video, because I really don't like to talk about other people, okay? I only do it when I get asked, and when a lot of people want my 2 cents, because I tell it like it is, alright? Whether, you know, listen, like when I stuck up for George in the last video I did, Mr. G, and I just said about the guy Vinny, let me just say something to you. My mother worked for the school district, okay, where I live, okay? And my mother also would actually volunteer. She was a school district, like, you know, she was one of the school district people, but she also would volunteer and actually help feed the kids at a lunchroom. So she used to feed AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because she went to Yorktown High School, same high school I went to. Lived right down the street. She was there since she was 2 years old. Don't believe any of that shit. She would live in the city. She went to school with my nieces. My sister's kids, my sister's daughters, all right? So, anyway, so my mother helped feed AOC, and my mother was also used to stand up. She was in the school board. She worked for the school district. She was, and my mother used to actually fight with them. She would stand up when nobody else would have the nutsack to say what they wanted to say against the school districts, against her bosses and everything. And she'd come right up and she'd say, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. And so my mother was like a legend for that, you know. And a lot of people think like, you know, like, oh, Greg, you know, you tell it like it is. My father was a rough guy, but he was a lot quieter. My mother was the one who was like me. But anyway, so now, that's why I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you the Arnold thing, and I'm going to give you my opinion about it, okay, which I know I'm right, so, I know, I've been around. You guys got to remember something. I've been around a long time, all right, and I started training in 1972, and I met Arnold the first time in 1976, okay, you know, in person, and I'm, you know, I know Arnold. We're not great friends or any of that stuff. I was in the gym with him. There he is, training right there. Many times, we never trained together. I'm not saying I was just training with none of that stuff, just I'm a guy in the gym, and he's a guy in the gym. That's the way it was. And it was World's Gym, not Gold's Gym. So, listen. Let me tell you something. Some of my friends, well, one in particular was Leon Brown, okay, who was Arnold's fucking workout partner. His first workout partner ever when he came to the United States, because they met the day Arnold got there, okay? And Leon has nothing but love for Arnold, and Arnold has a lot of love for Leon. But Leon would tell me about their drug little episodes and how they would go to, you know, this clinic was run by these nurses and stuff, and one of the nurses had the hots for Arnold, and she'd give him whatever the frig he wanted, okay? So when Arnold, I'm going to stick up for Arnold, and I'm going to throw him under the bus at the same time, so check it out. And no, that's not two-faced, it's the reality, okay? Arnold did not do steroids all year round. Most bodybuilders in the 70s, I've talked about this a gazillion times. So in Arnold's defense, he did not do steroids all the time. There was times he went off, okay? Unlike today's bodybuilder who would never go off anything. There you go. But he did not just do a little bit of testing a few D-balls. That's not true. That is not true at all. But he didn't do the massive amounts that guys do today either. So I got to give him credit in that. I mean, he did not do what guys do today. He did not. I did more steroids than he did, okay? Now, of what I know, Arnold would take testosterone, and I think he kept the testosterone around the 600 milligrams. I believe that's, you know, I would talk to Leon, and Leon would tell me these things. I have them on tape, but that's neither here nor there, you know, because Leon was one of my great friends and legend, and I mean, he was Arnold's training partner. Trained with Arnold and Franco. Franco, remember I tell you the story all the time. Franco lost to Mr. World the first time to Leon. And they would actually train together, but yet Arnold, Franco would not talk to Leon. They didn't, I mean, he would just, change the weights. They'd do a set, he'd spot him, he'd do a set, but he wouldn't talk to him. For 10 months, Leon told me. And Leon would talk to him, but Leon was just a very friendly, happy guy. But I know for a fact that Arnold did take some steroids, and he took some healthy dosages. I think he kept his testosterone around the 600 milligram. I don't think he ever took 1,000. I could be wrong. So I'm not going to make a total clear. I think it was 600, according to Leon. But he also did primobolan, okay? He did a few exotic things from Europe. I know he did. I know for a fact, And I know that when he was young, supposedly, he did a shitload of D-balls. I've heard different numbers from different people, not just Leon, but different people, that at one time he took 50 D-balls a day. Okay? I've heard other people tell me he took a whole bottle a day. I don't believe that. I am not saying that Arnold did that. I don't believe that. But I know he took some hefty D-balls. Okay? He did do Deca. See, when he says, I just did the little testosterone. The other thing, okay, I believe he did some Mastron, Balasterone. Leon would tell me these things, okay? Some people said he took STH, which is the growth hormone from back then. It reused monkeys and from cadavers and all that shit. I don't know for sure. I don't remember what Leon told me about that. So I can't make that up. I'm telling you that's the rumor, but I don't know if that's true. I do know he took, testosterone. He did take primobolan. He really liked primobolan. To be honest with you, that was one of his favorite drugs, primobolan, mixed with the testosterone. They did do D-ball tablets. I know. I think he's done Mastron. He's done Balasterone. He's done a bunch of different drugs. Okay, and he did up his dosages at times, especially when it got close to the Olympia. Here's the thing. The thing that I don't like what he says that tries to soften what he says. He says, when I took them, they were legal. They were never illegal. Steroids have never been legal. They were less. They weren't the class 3 like they are now, but they were never legal. Back in the day, you needed a prescription. Okay, now I'm going to tell you something. There was no prescription for primobolan. That was an overseas drug. Okay, there was no prescription for a lot of the things that he took. Okay, the Balasterone and all those things. Those things were not, there was no prescription for that. Okay, those were overseas drugs. So you're in this country, you're not going to get that. Go talk to your doctor, see if you can get primobolan. Okay, Balasterone they don't even make anymore. Here's the thing. They were prescription drugs. Okay, they were no different from you taking an antibiotic. But you can't just go to your pharmacy, give me an antibiotic. And if they gave it to you without a prescription, that's illegal. So when he was going to those nurses that Leon used to, I could tell you tons of stories. But I've already told him, and I don't want to get too deep here, that the focus is Arnold full of shit. Okay, and Tom Platz is full of shit. Both of them are full of shit. Tom Platz trained like a madman, was super intense, and has that kind of personality. Win or die, either train your muscle so hard it either force it to grow or make it cease to exist. So somebody with that type of mentality is also going to say, I'll take whatever it takes. The old, Rich Piana fucking thing, whatever it takes, right? Well, if he's going to train with that intensity, he's going to take whatever drugs, to get you to the next level. And, I know Tom. I've met him many a times, but I'm not friends with him. And I don't know any intimate details about what he's done. So I can't tell you that he didn't do it. But trust me, I remember when he first came up, and I saw what he looked like when he should have beaten Franco in the Olympia. And I'm just telling you, that's not just from hard training, a couple D-balls and maybe a shot of test. That's not from that. You can't. You're not at that level. Not at that level, He was unbeatable back then. Now, again, these were never legal. Like, they can't stand when they say that. It's no different from you going and saying, tell your pharmacist, give me a Z-Pack or some amoxicillin. It's not going to give it to you. Can't. Where's your prescription? Without your prescription, I can't give it to you. It's illegal. So Arnold did do steroids illegally. Okay? He keeps saying, when I did it, it wasn't illegal. Yes, it was. It just wasn't the classification it was today. See, you're full of shit. I don't understand. Why don't you just say, this is what I did. Okay? We used to get it on the sly from some nurses and, a few guys would get in. And, you get stuff from the guys in the gym as well. And, but I didn't do it all year round. You would have been better off saying that because that's more the truth. You know what I mean? But the bullshit. And we all know he's full of shit. You know what I mean? He didn't get to be the greatest bodybuilder ever. In a sense, okay, he's not the greatest bodybuilder ever. Relax. You know what I mean? What he's accomplished, no bodybuilders come even close to that. Forget about winning the Mr. Olympias, okay? But in that era, to have the muscle he had and the physique he had in that era, okay, and that was the steroid era. Don't think it wasn't steroids, okay? The top of the cream of the crop took a lot of steroids. The rest of the guys didn't even know about steroids. I didn't know about steroids, okay? So, the point I'm trying to make is, Arnold, you don't have to say what you'd be better off saying, yeah, I took steroids. Yeah, they were illegal. I got them just like everybody else gets them from a guy in a gym or something. I had to hook up with these nurses, whatever the hell. You know what I mean? Because I know that's the story. And Leon used to go with him. He used to tell me he shit his pants the way Arnold would drive in a car. You know what I mean? He said I would shit my fucking pants. We'd be in that little Volkswagen, and Leon would sit in the back, and Arnold would drive like 100 miles an hour. And he said he'd be like, oh my God, sometimes he'd be afraid for his life covering his eyes. Leon told me this shit, I got it on tape. Me and Leon, Leon's a treasure. Okay, I love him. God rest his soul. Arnold loved him, and he loved Arnold. He never said a bad word about Arnold. Whenever he talked about Arnold, he talked about Arnold with a smile on his face. He loved him. He loved him. It was like a big brother to him. But Leon told me what Leon did, and he did what they did, and he went with them, and he was telling me about the nurses, and the nurse used to, have a, they was part of a clinic, and she had a hard-on for Arnold. She loved him. So, there you go. That's my point. The point is that it was not legal. It was never legal. It wasn't like you could just walk in a pharmacy and say, yeah, give me the, go over to the shelf like you can with Advil or something like that. You give me, I'll take one of those, give me one of those, like you can down to like a pharmacy in maybe in Mexico or something. It's not the same, bro. It's not the same. And he did get some exotics. I don't know. He might have done Powerbowling too. I think Leon might have told me that. I don't remember. I don't want to say for sure because Leon's not here. I do have the tapes. I'm not going to sit and watch because it's been a while and it hurts me to see him, when we're talking. This is tape. We taped it a long time ago for a show for MD, and we did it back in 2008, I think, or 2007. And I'm not going to sit and watch that shit. I just know what I remember from Leon telling me. And again, Leon never talked bad about Arnold. He loved him. He talked about what they did, and like, yeah, check it out. This is what we did. We went to this clinic, and we'd drive, and Arnold would be speeding. I should be shitting my pants, and fucking, in Leon's words, though, his way. So, Arnold, I love you, bro, but come on. Don't say they were legal. They were never legal, and you did what every other bodybuilder does. What's the big deal, What is the big deal? Just, yeah. I know you didn't do them all year round. He did not do them all year round. I can tell you that now. That's why when you saw him in Pumping Iron and he showed up with 101 days and he's like, I want to get some muscle, It's because he just, that's when he was going to start his cycle. Like three months out. Danny Padilla, guys like that, they all did 4 months out. Anyway, that's the end of that. So, let's get to the next thing.
I grew up reading Muscular Development.
Listen,
they told it to you
40s.
straight. Gregg Valentino told it to you straight. Remember that dude?
Oh yeah.
Arms?
Well, he what the
Shoot
inject
synthol?
synthol in his arms, make them like balloons. Yeah.
Fucked up, but he would tell you the real.
Yeah, come on, Greg.
the reason why I was telling you originally about my mother, telling her like it is, and how she stood up against her own. She would stand up and tell people, "No, you're full of shit. You're full of shit." Her own bosses. She stood for the people. She was like Norma Ray, man. You know what I mean? They always still love my mother. There's people to this day that still tell me, "Oh my God, the way your mother would stand up and she'd go after them and never took shit." I'm proud. My mother was the best. But I have that in me. I'll say what I say. I'll tell you, tell it like it is. And when we're on after hours, Dave always talks about, oh yeah, when he talks about Steve Blackman, I like Steve Blackman. He's my friend. Okay, we had this little thing. And let me clarify that. He keeps saying, well, you took him to court. I didn't take him to court. He took me to court. What happened was I worked for him on a contract. I had a contract. I could not write for anybody else or make any appearances for anybody other than without his permission or getting it right, blah, blah, blah. I was his property. Okay? But the contract had me as an independent contractor. But I worked for him for 15 years. But the thing is that I couldn't do anything for anybody else. So basically, like if I, that's almost like, if you're a Yankee, you can't do something for the Mets. You know what I mean? Like, you're on contract. You know what I mean? So I couldn't do anything. So when Adina talked him into letting me go, you know what I mean? Because, I was also going to work with Joe. I went on to work with Joe, Joe Pietaro, Muscle Sport Mag. Joe also worked for Steve Blackman too. Steve said, listen, I can't, when they went to unemployment, he said, no, I don't want to pay that unemployment tax for me, because he was a, 1099, he was an independent contractor. But the unemployment looked at my contract and said, well, he may have been an independent contractor, but you kept him under contract, so he was an acting employee. You know what I mean? There was a loophole there. You can't just keep me so I can't make money anywhere else. An independent contractor means you're hiring me to do that job for that day, but you can't just make it I was exclusive. So what happened was he didn't want to pay, and I said, bullshit, I got to pay. That was he made a living, and I got cut like this. Now, I went quickly, got another job with Iron Mag Labs like a couple months later, but, and then he hired me back. But that's neither here nor there. So we had to go to not court, not a civil court. We went to unemployment court, which is an unemployment judge. And the judge ruled in my favor, said, no, you can't tie this guy up, leave him, where he's on for 15 years. You had him tied up. He couldn't work for anybody else. Yet you're calling him an independent contractor. If he's an independent contractor, he can work for other people too. So they said, no, you're going to have to pay the unemployment. So he lost, I won. Okay. That's it. Dave keeps saying, you took him to court. I didn't take him to court. He took me to court because he didn't want to pay. So the court said, you both got to come in and you got to do the shit, He lost, I won. But he apologized to me after that. He even said, look, Greg, I was wrong. I made a few mistakes. I listened to the wrong people, which was Adina, that girl who destroyed MD. After that, MD went down. So, and then he wound up hiring me back eventually. Okay, so it doesn't matter. I like Steve Blackman. I love Steve Blackman. He took me out of the gutter. I was a piece of shit that just got out of jail and shit. I was a piece of shit when he hired me. Okay? Trust me, I was a piece of shit. Nobody else wanted to go within, 100 yards of me. Okay? And he hired me. And John Romano tried to talk him out of it, and he didn't listen to John. And not for nothing, but look, my column, Rambling Freak, you guys know. I mean, I won columns of the year a few times, everything, So, I don't want to hear, like when they talk about Steve Blackman, I still talk with Steve. He still texts me, I text him and everything. I'm still friends with him. I love Steve Blackman. He did a lot for me. Okay? I don't care. He could spit in my face, and it would bother me, obviously, if he spit in my face. I would not like that, and I wouldn't consider him a friend anymore, but I can never talk bad about him and rip him an asshole, and I can tell you why. Because he gave me a job when nobody else would give me a job, and he made me the man, and I made enough money that I could take care of my children and be there for him, and go to every sport event and everything, and help my daughter, my daughter's a phenomenal athlete, all-county lacrosse, all-county, basketball, you know what I'm saying, won most athletic girl of the year, was undefeated in it, she used to joust and shit, she was undefeated from 9th grade on, you know what I mean, she's never lost. She used to win the fastest. She used to, she was 6th, 7th grade. She was throwing faster than any girl on varsity. She's won, I can't tell you the trophies and awards that girl won. When I say throw, I mean lacrosse. You know, my daughter was attacked. She led the, you know, the whole fucking county we live in. She led the whole county in assists. And, you know, she was up there in scoring, but she was assists are even greater than scoring. It means you set up the score. My daughter was a phenomenon. Then she, you know, fought bare knuckle. Never lost a bare knuckle fight. Then she fights MMA. So my daughter's a phenomenon. You know what? I went to every one of her events, and I made sure. She'll tell you, she'd sit here and tell you, this guy's my hero. He was always there for me, and I paid for everything. I paid child support, and I still paid for everything that they needed. If I paid child support, and then my ex-wife be, she needs new sneakers, I'd be like, oh, here, boom, I'd buy her. I bought the sneakers. I could have been like a lot of other prick fathers. Oh, no, I paid your child support. You got to take it out of that. That's what child support's for. No, I didn't do that, man. I still paid for everything for her. Gave her money when she went to college. Each week I would give her money. I was giving her $900 a week, crazy shit like that. My son was in the military, okay, and his wife was going to college at the same time. And my son, you know, it was tough on him and everything with money. He's in the military. I would put $500 in his bank account. I did, you know what? I'm a kid's hero because I did what I didn't need to do that, but I did it anyway. All right, and you know what made me do that? Steve Blackman. Steve Blackman gave me the opportunity to do it because I didn't have to go do a 9-to-5 job, and he gave me a lot of money. I was paid a lot of money. It was the highest paid columnist. So I'm just telling you, kudos to Steve Blackman. What he's done for me, you can't undo that. Okay, he could spit in my face, shit on me. He may not be my favorite person after that. But I could never hate him, and I could never take away what he did for me. Capiche? You understand that? I could never take away what he's done for me. I would be the worst hypocrite on the planet to talk shit about a man who stood up for me. I don't care what he did at the end when Adina pulled that shit. That's 15 years into it. But for those 15 years, I was able to get my kid from when she was a little girl onto when she was into college because of Steve Blackman giving me the money that he gave me and gave me the opportunity to be a father and have the time because I didn't have to go to a traditional job, but I have the time to go to every sporting event, sit out at basketball courts, shovel the snow off the courts so she, I could take her and we could practice her hoops from when she was a little girl. You understand? So I could be on the lacrosse field. I did an ESPN video. I was on ESPN. Well, how many bodybuilders did they ever feature on ESPN? None. Me. That's it. I was the feature story. Okay? It was the feature story. And on there you can see me practicing lacrosse with my daughter. I played every fucking day. I practiced everything with her. Do you understand? I taught her how to fist fight. I taught her so much shit. You know why? Because Steve Blackman gave me the opportunity to be a hands-on father and have the shkadol to pay for everything that she needed and still give my ex-wife the money. Okay? So, you could say what you want about me. Dude, that's better than winning a Mr. Olympia. If any of you have children and your children look up to you and you do the right thing by your children and you love your children, dude, that's the Mr. Olympia right there. Being their fucking hero, being my children's hero. Okay? Because I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was making piss money and if I was, had to go to work every day. I couldn't go to the lacrosse games every day. I couldn't shovel the snow off the fucking basketball court so we could shoot baskets and stuff, you know what I mean? Outside the school up here. There you go. So when you talk shit about Steve Blackman, you're never going to hear me chime in there. And every time I say to Dave and John, I'm sorry, I know they still got sour grapes fucking 20 years later, you know what I mean? I still tell them I love Dave and John, but I'm going to, just like my mother stood up and she told her own boss, I'm telling you, I love the guy, and you're not going to make it, you could say all you want, but you sued him. I did not sue him. We went to court because I deserved this, and he tried to stop me only because that was, because of a loophole, but that loophole went against him, and he apologized for me and hired me back a year later, so. There you go. There's the truth. Listen, guys, there's a lot of things. These guys, they say things on there. There's a few I'm not going to mention, but there's a few, you hear shit on, when they bring up the trannies and all that shit. And I know shit that I'm not going to say, but, some of them, they say this out of the crack in their mouth, but I've also seen them, you know what? Don't even get me started. But I'm not going to throw any of my boys under the bus. Just don't talk about Steve Blackman in front of me, because the guy was good to me, and allowed me to be a father to my kids. You can kick me in the ass or fucking lock me up for the rest of my life, no matter what. You can't take that away. If a fucking boulder came out of the sky and hit me, my daughter will sit here and say, my father, this guy was there for me my whole life. Never was at every school. I was a school mom. I used to go on the trips when she would go in a museum and all the different upstate. That, we did the Howell Caverns after I pissed on the floor the next time when I took my son and everything. And then when my daughter for school, I was up there. I did everything. Because Steve Bleckman gave me that opportunity by overpaying me more than I should have gotten, but trust me, enough to not only live off, but thrive. I'm going to leave you guys with that this week, okay? I got a bunch of more things I'm going to talk about, some videos coming up that you're really, really, really going to love. Like one of them, I was going to do it in this one, but I'm going to hold off, okay? And one of them is like how I stay motivated, because that's another one. How do you stay motivated, man? I'm turning 63. 63 years old. You've been training since 1972 I started training. How do I still work out with passion, with love, and I still train? I'm going to go train tonight, okay? I'm going to talk about all that. I got some upcoming videos, I got some other shit I'm going to talk about, that you guys are going to like. So, again, I'm not going to it's not always bodybuilding, but, you'll see. I got some good shit coming, all right? Guys, I love you guys. My friend, right here. I don't get paid to do this. It's my friend that owns this company, so I'm going to promote his shit. So if you don't like it, tough shit, okay? But I can tell you, I do take it. Game Face, like Prevagen and all this. This is 10 times stronger. Go read the ingredients, and it's half the price. Okay, GameFaceSupplements.com. It fucking kicks ass. All right? Helps the brain. 800 grams of lion's mane in one fucking serving. Anyway, I don't get paid for that. Okay? If somebody asked me on Joe Pietaro's video, on my old school training video, do you really need sponsors and everything? Nah, I don't need a sponsor to do a video. There's nobody sponsoring this video. They're not sponsoring. I don't get a dime from that shit. I don't get a penny from this shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't. All right? I promote that because it works, and I really do take it. I fucking take like probably 2 servings a day, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? And I love it. But they're asking me about the old school training. Do you have to really have old Chaos Nutrition? What if Chaos Nutrition did? If Chaos Nutrition didn't, Joe runs a business. Muscle Sport Mag is a business. This is not a business. When I do this on this channel, it's bafangul me. You know what I mean? It's for you guys. I'm not getting money on here. I don't get enough fucking traffic to get like money in from AdSense and shit. Joe runs a business. Muscle Sport Mag does shows, podcasts. He has a paper magazine, the last of the hardcore print magazines. It's the last one, and it's hardcore. Okay, and before Boston Lloyd died, Boston Lloyd was one of the writers. Before Jerry Ward died, Jerry Ward was one of the writers, and Rich Piana was a contributor. Okay, and they're all dead. But I'm still here. Lee Priest and all those guys, we still write articles. I'm just telling you, okay? And Joe, you need sponsors over there, because sponsors are what pays the bills to keep the business. That's why magazines are dying. That's why newspapers and all that shit are dying, because they can't get the sponsors. They don't get sponsorship. They don't get advertisers. So technically, for me doing a show, Chaos Nutrition pays for me to do that show. Okay? On that platform. And on that platform, you have to have a sponsor, or Muscle Sport Mag can't promote it. You know what I mean? They can't. So, and I do get paid to do that show. I get paid this much, but I still get paid. Okay? Capiche? So when you ask me, when you see me do that, the guy who asked me, whoever you are, you all can go to that last video I just did for Joe. The last video Muscle Sport Mag put up with me with the old school training. You can go on it. You can read the comment yourself. You can read, I answered it. I try to answer all your comments, the good and the bad and the stupid, you know what I mean? There you go. But with me, it's not about shkadol. Okay? Because I get paid very little. I don't get paid enough to even put the gas in my car over there. But I do this because I love you guys, but on that platform, Joe has to get paid. Okay? And Chaos pays Joe, and Joe gives me some money. That's how it works. Kabish! Alright. I love you guys. Hey, be the hero. Pay child support. Do the right thing by your kids. Doesn't matter what she does with the money. Doesn't matter. Matters what you do. One day your kids are going to be old and they're going to look at you and what did you do? I don't care if my ex-wife, I'm not even going to say it. Trust me, but I went through a lot of that shit. But I stood there like a man and did what a man does. And that's why I'm my kid's hero. Some of you guys may hate my guts and look at me as a zero, but to my kids, I'm the hero. How about that? Alright. Enough bullshit. I'll talk to you guys. See you in the next video. Bye. Stop fucking around. You fucking momo.